All right. Welcome to the 5D Academy of Higher Consciousness. I'm Zarathustra, broadcasting live from Tulum, Mexico. Well, today's topic, I'm going to be talking about uh, knowing the teachings and living the teachings, which are two different things. So I'm going to delve into it and explain it in details. Um, it's been my experience that um, with a lot of spiritual seekers, they may be reading a lot of different books, checking out different teachers, um, doing various different practices, but ultimately, maybe coming to like webinars like our academy, and a lot of the people, they just get the inner peace. Uh, Coming to these kind of events or the workshops or retreat is just getting some sense of peace and quiet, and for the moment just being in this space. Uh, but however, living the teaching is a different story. I mean, uh, living it is different. And I'm going to explain this, what I mean by that. What I mean by it is that when you're living the teachings, is a complete different story than just knowing the teaching. You may have heard all the words and all the goodies. Just one moment, one thing I need to just fix. For instance, like I was with Papaji, I was in Indranagar sitting with the master, and Papaji's talking about non-dualities, basically talking about you don't have any free will, and we're just sitting with him. Everything sounds good. We're in the unified field, and we all get very high from the presence of the master and go to this very deep, loving spaces. And that would be like for 2-3 hours. But then you leave the satsang hall, and then you walk out, and we're in India. We're in this um, village, little town, Indranagar, which was a part of Lucknow, the capital of UP. And then, you got to go out there and be in the community. And of course, it's an Indian town. So all of a sudden, things change because you're being challenged continuously by people, by this and that. And now you've been at satsang, sitting with the master, going into these beautiful places. But then when you come out of it and then you're in a community and you're being challenged, you can see like all the teachings is out the door. The anger comes, the impatience comes, the frustration comes. And of course, anybody who's lived in India long enough knows that you're going to be challenged. And also, your patience is going to be challenged because you have to be very, very patient. And also, things are not going to go your way. And there's always like something's going to fall apart, or there's a story. So you're going to have to bring the whatever you've been learning, you have to bring the teachings and bring it into living it. And then, of course, you're in India, you're with the master, and it's a lot easier. But then you leave and you go back to the West. And that was the rhythm, because at the end of the season, we all left, we all went to our countries, and then we came back the next season. So, and the theme was that I got it, but when I go back to the US or I go back to whatever country, Germany, Holland, wherever anybody was from, then the theme was I lose it. I can't sustain it. So it was like a conditional kind of understanding that it was working as far as being around the master. And once uh, you're not around the master, uh, you're a mess. You're completely in the swing of things. So when things go your way, you're happy. When things fall apart, you're a mess. So that is something I've observed primarily with myself. And then also, I've seen it with a lot of my participants that they may have been with me for like few years and they're hearing all this stuff. But when it comes to the actual practicing it in the daily basis, when things don't go your way, from minor stuff to major things, then all the teachings go out the window. It's not there. And this is something I wanted to bring it to your attention because it's very, very important in your development. Is that, knowing the stuff, repeating it, which I did like a parrot, like repeating teachings of Advaita Vedanta, the non-duality, was one understanding, but then incorporating it in the daily life was a complete different story. And I haven't seen many people be able to do it. When it really, the push come to shove, I haven't seen many people be able to do it. It's like all this teachings and all knowing it, it just boom, out the door. Now, whether it's an emergency or it's a situation that, I don't know if it's a love affair, it's a life-threatening situation, it's a money situation, uh, it's over, I don't know. Um, there's various different kind of situation that can happen that gives us an opportunity to practice the teachings, but when things get really tight and intense, boom, it's out the door. And a part of it also is related to denial. And it's interesting because it's something you really want to look at. It's something you want to dig in if you want to be able to go to a higher level of consciousness, a higher level of awareness, an understanding of the nature of your own self and your own consciousness. It's something you have to go through this pathway. It's just a must. There is no way out of it. You cannot transform and go to the next level if you're going to avoid this part. Because when it comes to really evolving to a higher level of consciousness, there is no cheating. You cannot cheat. You cannot just uh, not take all the steps one after the other one. They they don't. It's just impossible such a thing to do. And it's interesting for the human mind, the nature of the mind, and is that we want to find a way to cheat and not to take the steps, because in order to be able to go to the next level, you have to dive inside yourself. And a part of diving inside yourself is you're going to come to this aspect of yourself, which is denial. The denial. Does everybody understand what I mean by the word denial? Yeah. and and there's a lot of different levels of it. And I'm going to explain this to you. And you can just examine it for yourself later on when you have a moment to see if this is like uh, it makes sense for you or not. But a vast majority of human beings on this planet, and this is like a very large number of humans, okay, they live in a state of denial. They're, that means they don't really want to look at the truth. They tell themselves stories all the time, or they live in this fantasy world of that we create for ourselves. It's a world that is just imaginary and it's non-existing. It just does not exist. But we live in this world. And what happens is at times you get together with one of your friends or a few of your friends who are doing the same thing and living in this fantasy world. And the fantasy world is supporting the fantasy world. And that's what is happening with a very large population of human beings on the world, is that they're living in this fantasy world. And everybody else is supporting it because they're all doing the same thing. And what that is the denial of the reality of what life is. And just kind of like not wanting to look at that and just wanting to just live in this imaginary world. And what happens is, since it's just not real, and we keep denying it, eventually it's going to catch up with you. At the end of the day, there's no way out of it. It's just going to catch you. So let me see what kind of example I can use. Uh, let's say, for instance, like you have an addiction to sugar, or you have a series of health issues, and you are denying it to yourself, that, and you're denying it to the people around you, that there's no problem, yeah, you're fine, uh, you don't have a health issue. So you're kind of like sweeping it under the rug, and you live in this fantasy world that there is no health issue. But then, in the same time, your health keeps deteriorating, whether it's your the diet, or excessive drinking or smoking, um, whatever that is. You just keep denying that there's an issue. Uh, Use another example. Let's say you're in this situation. You have like a couple of brothers sisters, you know, and what happens is like um, the dad dies. Okay, your father dies, and the older brothers, or the oldest kids, they kind of manipulate, and there's a big inheritance, and one or two of the older brothers sisters, they just steal everything. They just take a lot of the stuff, and the younger ones, they get very small portion of their inheritance. And then the younger ones, since they have this deep love for their older brothers sisters, they never address it. They never confront their older brothers sisters. So they just deny, like, the fact that the older brothers sisters, they ripped them off. They stole a big portion of their inheritance, and the younger ones, they never look into it. They act like everything is normal, and uh, despite the evidence, they just look away. Let's look at another situation. Let's say that you have this obsession, uh, romantic obsession or sexual obsession, that you have developed over somebody, and you're continuously uh, making advancement towards this person, whomever they are, and they're kind of like rejecting you. But you stay in this fantasy world of yourself, that, oh, things are going well, and you're getting more together. It's getting, you just don't want to look at the reality of it. You just kind of live in, and then you're talking to your friends. Or let me use this example. For instance, let's say you're married, you have a partner, and your partner is fooling around with other people. And you get the news from here and there that your partner is fooling around. But your husband, your wife, but you don't want to admit it. So you're just in this denial, that despite the evidence and despite the fact that You're getting all this information that your partner, your husband, wife, whatever it is fooling around with other people, but you're just looking away. You're looking in the other direction as everything is fine. And down deep, you know, but you are in this state of denial. And I want you to kind of look at yourself and take this teaching and kind of look like, I mean, reflect back inside and just take a look and see how much of your interactions with the world outside that you're having is real and how much of it is fantasy. And you will be amazed. I mean, because if you're really honest and you're sincere and you're really honestly looking at it, which is very scary, but if you really honestly look at yourself of how much your interactions with whatever situation in life, whether there's people or things that happen, events, how much of it is real, how much of it is fantasy. And you will be amazed that a large portion of these interactions are actually your imagination. That a part of you is just imagining it or want it to be, but it's not real. But you have to look at it. You have to dive into it and really pay attention. But most of us don't want to. Most of us don't really want to go deep because it's scary. Deep is scary. Deep is like, why should I go deep? Why should I really look at my own stuff and my shortcomings? Because it's much easier to blame things on other people. It's much easier to point finger out the outside world. And this is what we have been doing most of our lives. Pointing finger at the outside world, at the other people. It's other people's faults. You know, I am just the victim here. It's the government's fault. It's the city management's fault. It's the corporation's fault. It's the other race or it's the other religion's fault. You know, this has nothing to do with me. And if you really pay attention and look, you will see that we will see that a lot of us been doing this. It's just living in this fantasy world, which is here, and which is completely different than the truth of life, the reality of life. In all these different aspects, Does it make any sense? I'll give you another example. For instance, let's say um, how can I really convey that? I want to use an example that we can all relate to. Um, I don't know. I mean, do you have any questions or comments already before I come up with another? Hi, Jay. Hi, Yurik. So, no, no comments, no.
Yeah, I uh, I know that for me that I'm often not really honest or not really myself, and I experienced it all the time when I was working, when I was in business working, and this is the best place to ignore myself and to play a role, and just to be to get was ist das wirst gelobt.
They all said, "Oh, you done your work very fine. You are the greatest. You are the best work." Yes, this you mean.
And so it is easy to go over this over this thing when you're not honest. To ignore it.
Honest to yourself.
Yes, and to others.
Right.
Especially to myself. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I felt it all the time, or for a long time before I ended working, before I ended this job. I knew that it's not really good for me, the way I lived.
Yeah. Yeah, down deep, you know.
Yes.
Exactly. And go ahead.
I think we all know this, but it's we are often we are too lazy to change some things or to come constantly back to the now moment. And when we are in the now moment, we can't do these things. Then we are here. There are no thoughts. Then there is the truth, and then we are truly. And then everything is fine. Mm-hmm. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Well, the why look at myself, okay, and be honest with myself when I can just blame others.
Yes.
You know, because if I'm going to be looking at myself, whatever is the situation, and there's like a myriad of different kind of situations could be in life, which it does. So then I have to look at my own shit. But it's a lot easier if I'm pointing finger at other people and blaming other people and blaming the world, which what a lot of us do most of the time, than looking at myself. It's a very, very rare that you meet human beings that whenever something happens, there's a dispute. You're in a relationship or a transaction with somebody else, whether it's romantic or it's business or whatever kind of relationship you have with them, and there is a conflict there, and it's very, very rare for somebody to first look at themselves as the source of the problem. I would say like 99% of the time, they're pointing finger at somebody else or the situation. And you may be hearing all these teachings and you know it, but when it comes to your interest and somebody else's interest, all the teaching goes down the toilet, the drain. Is just boom. It just evaporates because it's about your interest and somebody else's interest, and it disappears. Okay, let me use an example. Maybe this makes sense. Let's say there, I don't know what kind of example I can use that you relate to it. But let's say for some reason you you okay, simple situation between a man and a woman. And let's say, for example, you develop feelings for this person, okay? And you're working your way, you're trying to um, develop a relationship with them. And you're putting efforts into it, you're putting your time into it, um, whatever you're doing. There may be like some sparks every once in a while, and the person that you're really pursuing, maybe, once in a while gives you a smile, or even just fools around with you, and or give you something, but it's not giving you all. Okay? And then in your imagination, in your fantasy, the little that you're getting, uh, you're just making a story out of it. Oh, I'm together with this person. This person is in love with me. Uh, this is all happening in your side of imagination, right? Uh, that, yeah, we got something going on. It's really deep. So you're fantasizing about this story. The other person maybe gives you some crumbs, maybe just goes on a date with you, or just, I don't know, for a drink, maybe even sleeps with you one time, but they're not committed, they're not into you. Okay, but the little you're getting from them, you're creating this story in your head. He's really into me. um, we're meant to be together for our lives, it's my soulmate. So you're fantasizing and creating a story which does not exist, The other person is just, okay, wants to go out, have a drink, have fun, maybe have sex or whatever, or every once in a while. To them, maybe you're a booty call. It's just like somebody they get together every once in a while and having sex with. But they're not really into anything romantic or going deeper or wanting to make a life with you or anything. Okay? But on your side, you have constructed this whole thing. Oh, he's really into me. He's my soulmate. We're going to be together forever. And blah, blah, blah. You keep constructing all this stories in your head. So you're in denial. You're in denial of the reality of what is going on. You're just creating stories in your head. And then, when it comes to the moment of the truth, you know, and you want to cash in because you have been investing into your fantasy. And so finally, you confront this person is, okay, are we going to move in together? Are you going to marry me or whatever? And the person says, what are you talking about? Baby, this was like just having sex every once in a while. And this, I never had an intention of being with you long term. So this is what happens. The dynamic changes. And all of a sudden, what happens is the person comes back and says, oh, you have been manipulating me. You have been teasing me. You have been just luring me in. You have taken advantage of my emotional state, and you used me, whether you wanted my money or my support, or you just wanted to just sleep with me, have sex with me, and then the person goes into the victim mode. They become the victim. Like, yeah, all men are the same. They're all pigs. They all just want to take advantage of you. They're all liars. So, okay, pay attention here. Is the same person who was fantasizing about this guy. All right? So there's this woman, this girl, fantasizing about this guy that he's the one and we're going to be together forever. He's my soulmate. And this is like a very small investment. It's like from this guy's point of view, it was like, okay, this is not a girl or woman I'm just going out with. And it's a casual situation. I'm not interested in marrying her. I don't want to have babies with her. I don't want to have a life with her or anything. I'm just going out with some girl to just have fun. But from her point of view, she's fantasizing and constructing all these stories in her head that he's the one and da 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 da, da and we're going to be together forever and whatever the story is. And then, so when he pulls the plug and then he's just confronting her and saying like, hey, look, for me, I never promised you a rose garden. I never promised you we're going to be together forever or whatever is the story. Okay, so it comes to the moment of truth. That means this castle that is built on sand is crashing down. So what happens for her is This fantasy world that she had created in her mind is crashing down because it was never real. And then all of a sudden, because she's in denial, she's in this place of denying, she's going to turn the whole thing around. And now she becomes the victim. That this guy was manipulating me. He made me believe that he's really in love with me and we're going to have a future together, or whether he stole my money or whatever. He made me to do this and do that for him. Now she goes into this defensive place and she becomes the victim and still in denial, denying the truth. So this is one example. And if you understand what I'm saying, and if you examine it for yourself, you will discover that we all have been doing this in our lives in certain degree. That there have been, either we're still doing it, like we're living in this fantasy world, and we don't really want to look at the truth, whatever that is. Because to look at the truth, why should I look at the truth? I'm going to stay in denial and blame other people for my shortcomings. It's much easier. And it's something like the mind keeps constructing it. You have to be very aware of it. Not to fall into this trap, not to fall into this game that the mind plays, the construction of this fantasy world that the mind does. That could be like I mean, there's so many different examples to use within this. And it's interesting because when that happens, all the teachings is out the door. We're not using the teachings anymore. The teachings, that sounds pretty, it's wonderful here, because it brings peace, and for a couple hours I'm just like very peaceful. But I'm not going to bring the teaching into my daily life. The teaching is only for over there. Daily life is, I'm a victim. What do you mean? I got screwed. Somebody manipulated my emotions and feelings. Forget about the teachings. What do you mean? Any questions or comments?
So the solution is try to be silent and silent and silent and once more silent. And when I lose the silence, try to go back to the silence.
Well, the solution is like we're looking at ourselves
Mm.
and bringing. Let's say, okay, we talk about stillness. Okay, we're talking about moments of life. Uh, there's been many like academy sessions we've had is about being still. Like, let's say you get some really bad news or something falls apart in your life, and instead of like freaking out and reacting, you remain still. Or somebody comes and gives you some bad news. Let's say your partner, you find out that your partner is having an affair with someone else. Okay? So you just discover that. And it's very disturbing. And then okay, can you use the teachings when that happens? Or you're going to really identify with the story and really react, really be in a swing of ups and downs of emotional stuff. This is where, is practicing the teaching in living life versus of just knowing it as some pretty words. Or, I don't know, you invested something with someone and or somewhere, and your investment is gone, and now you're just going crazy, and yeah, you want to kill this person or this company. So now you go into the victim place, and you're just really blaming them for what has happened. This is what the norm is. It's what we do. It's what we've been doing, right? Now, where is the teachings? The teaching is that okay, all right, the event has happened. You invested, either they scammed you or they lied to you and they stole your money or whatever the situation, or things went sour. Whatever that is the outside world of the events that happen. So now it comes to your reaction. How are you going to react to it? Are you going to remember and you're practicing the teachings of remaining still to it and just kind of like reflecting, looking at what has happened, and also taking responsibility? Because at the end of the day, you're the one who went and invested there. Nobody put a gun into your head to go put your money there. And you decided doing it. Maybe, yeah, it's a scam and they kind of like they lied to you, they lured you in to do it. Okay, which there's a lot of scams in the world. I get it. But at the end of the day, you're the one who pulled the trigger. You're the one who did it. So what happens is the typical people, average people, they fall into the victim place, and then they're saying, yeah, they manipulated me, they lied to me, they scammed me, and they stole my money. That's what average person does. A highly evolved person is going to reflect back in. And they're going to take responsibility for their own actions. That's a major difference. They still got scammed, they still got cheated, and the event has happened. But they take their own part of responsibility. That nobody like put a pistol in their head to go put their money there. They decided on doing it. There's a big difference here. The same event, same thing, two different approaches.
So it's important always to see what's my part of it. What's my side of this thing? It's the same like the both sides of the cent or the dollar note.
Yes, exactly.
The God and the devil.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is where transformation comes. Because 99% of the people on the planet are going to react in this way. And very, very few, they're going to take responsibility and they're really going to look at themselves. And that's where the transformation takes place.
So this means to be all the time in a conscious moment and also be in control myself moment.
In a way, yeah, you can say that. Because, okay, let's say I get scammed, either, financially or emotionally or by family, it's going to happen also. Maybe your brothers, sisters, they scam you or they lie to you. There's inheritance, there's money. There's all kinds of different scenarios of different things happen. Maybe it's a health issue, whatever that is. There's different stories. But I'm just using this one story. This financial thing. And in this financial situation is like, okay, all right, I got scammed, which it's constantly is happening. The phone companies trying to do it, real estate companies trying to do it, insurance companies trying to scam you. There's a million different, all these advertisements on TV you're watching. There's always stuff like people trying to sell something to you or get you signed somewhere, commit to this 1 year deal with the phone company or whatever it is. There's always stuff, especially now. It's very sophisticated. So everybody wants to sell something to you or talk you into sign up with the gym or whatever it is. Become a part of this or donate into that or whatever is the situation. It's non-stop. It's always happening. And yeah, you get lured into this and that. And then you're very angry because you got scammed. But we don't look at ourselves. We refuse to look at ourselves in that situation. We're just pointing finger at them. Well, where is my responsibility in this situation? And where is my shortcoming? What is it I need to look at myself that I got into this situation? Like existence presented this situation and which resulted in me being scammed and losing. But what is my role in it? What is it I'm not looking at? What is it I need to learn? What is the listen to it? You know, what is it I really need? Why is it happening over and over again? What is it I'm not really looking at? So that's what I'm talking about. Like knowing the teaching is one thing, but living it is another thing, completely different. Complete different story. So it's nice to see you all. I think it's been a long break. I don't know how long. So we're going to try to be consistent from now on, hopefully. Inshallah. There's a lot of elements here, like every once in a while we lose electricity, every once in a while we don't have um, internet. I mean, I live kind of in the wild. I mean, there's jungle all over here. Even though it's a developing town, but all kinds of stuff, they start digging into the street. There's a major street nearby, and they're digging into bringing sewage, creating sewage system. But then all of a sudden they may cut the main artery of electricity while they're doing that. So there it goes. Like you don't have electricity for 2 days. So it's wild. I mean, it's alive. That's what I like about it, because it's not really organized like being in a city. So it's got its advantages and disadvantages of living here. So on that note, we're having our retreat in Poland, and I look forward to it. I know some of you have signed up. This is the Missourian Lake District. We have our own location, so it's ours, and it's right by the lake. And this is, in comparison to where we used to go, it's a luxurious place. And we also converted the four persons cabins into 2 persons. So all of our cabins and bedrooms, they have their own private shower. And the place offers a lot of stuff, from sauna to fire pit to volleyball court to boats and paddle boats and horseback riding. There's all kinds of things available. So this is our playground. We don't have to answer to anybody. There's no limitations. Hi, Monica, you want to say something?
Yes. Yeah. The course starts 2 in the afternoon, but we from going to the airport, and you are going to take us from the airport. But how, when I order the flight to Warsaw, what time do you pick up us?
We Yeah, we would like you all to arrive by 2 in the afternoon, maybe two
Yes, but
thirty.
that is in the camp. That is in the place where you are going to have the retreat.
Uh, oh, okay. No, we. It would be great if you can arrive to Varshova
Yes,
by 2:30 in the afternoon, 14:30.
14:30. Oh, I
Yeah.
mean, you start then to fetch us uh, at the airport.
Yeah, I mean, we're just
Yes,
giving it a time like from maybe 11 a.m. in the morning to like latest 14:30. We can everybody arrives, we can pick everybody up and then
yes.
drive everyone to Oleska.
So it's a good idea to be there around 11 o'clock.
Well,
Then
I
I
mean,
have
we're
time.
we're creating a window between, I don't know, 10, 11. What do you think, Yurik? What is our cutoff time as far as?
I don't have ordered the flight yet, but I want to know what time I should be in Warsaw.
Yeah, no, nothing later than 14:30. Nothing later than that.
14:30. But
Yeah.
if I come around 11, I just sit there and wait for you to pick me up.
Yes.
Because I can, it will take some time from the airport to the place we are going to stay.
Yeah, it's a 3.5 hour drive.
I see.
Right.
Yes.
But it's a beautiful drive in the countryside.
Yes, I look forward
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah. So it's an all day journey basically. So we're
Yes.
hoping we can have you all uh, there at the retreat center by 18, 18 o'clock, hopefully, or
Yes.
18:30, preferably earlier. So, but
Yes.
we're just creating this window
Mm.
uh, from 11 to latest
Yes.
14:30,
Mm.
just in case.
And then I know
And
what to
then the
do.
following week, we're all going to drive you back to Warsaw.
Yes.
Yeah.
What time do I go from the airport
We
to?
we will look at your itinerary, and then based on your itinerary, we'll
Yes.
figure out what time we need to drive you
But
back.
we are many persons coming from abroad. I know Marit and I suppose Hilde will come.
Yeah, at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think the number is going to change. Uh, so I think we're capable of to delivering 10 people at a time. So,
Yes.
but it always works out somehow magically.
Yes.
Everything works out.
Yes.
But this place is very magical. I mean, I haven't seen it, but from the photos, the videos, and our brother Yurik, he's been there. I mean, the place is ours, so
Mm.
it's sort of like Ore, or I don't know if you came to Arbutna in Sweden.
Yes.
Right.
In Åre and in Muskö
Yeah.
the last
Right.
time.
Yeah, but we have the place to ourselves,
Oh, that's good.
and there is no restrictions. So,
Mm.
like in the evening, if you want to have a glass of wine, you're gonna have a glass of wine. I mean, they sell
Yes.
it, and then they serve meat. So
Yes.
there's no restrictions that we had at other place, because the other place had all these different restrictions. We can't do this, we can't do that.
Mm.
Here, we pretty much can do whatever we want.
Mm. And about the yoga, do you have a teacher there, or do you do the yoga
No,
yourself?
we don't have a teacher, and it's the yoga is going to be self yoga.
Yes.
You do it yourself. And if somebody shows up and they want to lead the yoga class, they're welcome to.
Yes. And
Right. So, but I'm assuming a group of people will just take your yoga mats right by the lake and do
yes.
their practice there.
Do I have to bring my mat, or
No,
can
we have yoga mats.
I do.
Right. Yeah.
It's
Just bring your shaker or little drum, and make sure you bring your paints and costumes for the shamanic day.
yes.
The check out and check in in the program on your site is check in on the 10th, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Beginning of check in on the 10th
Right.
August.
Right.
And check out closing ceremony is ending on 10 o'clock in the morning on the 17th August. So I think it takes a bit longer. Then I don't know if you get something to eat. So I think it's not possible to book a plane back earlier than 3 or 3:30 in the afternoon.
Well, we can adjust that. That's we can decide. We can maybe have the closing ceremony at 9 in the morning.
Okay.
We can play with that.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe we just see what's going on. Maybe we have our closing ceremony on Saturday evening. We, because it's our own thing, and we don't have to answer to anybody, so we can play with it and see what works. For the moment, that's how we put it on the schedule. So we have it on the schedule. But then I'm going to see like how many participants we have, and how many people need to go to the airport the next day, and what time is their flight, and then we make adjustments based on that.
Mm-hmm. But I think it's was heißt entspannter? It's leisure. No, not leisure. It's not the. It's more relaxed when it's in the second half of the day for everyone. The fly back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's much more relaxed.
This I mean.
Yeah. If your flight is after 12 noon, it's
later. It's
or later, 3, 4 o'clock, depending. So also is whether the availability of the flights, if you can find something.
I say because of Monica, because she asked what is the best time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you have to know it before you order the flight.
Yeah, late afternoon on the 17th is easier, because we have 3.5 hour drive.
Yes,
so
that's the reason.
Yeah, if we drive you, let's say we leave at 10 in the morning, then 3.5 hours, we're looking at 1:30. So again, the closing ceremony, we can change it, because first of all, we have like 2 months left, 2 months and or 2.5 months. So we can play with that. We can just say, okay, let's have the closing ceremony on Saturday evening, so we don't have to deal with that on Sunday morning. Sunday morning we can get up and have breakfast and just say goodbye to each other, uh, and just drive to the airport. I can change the schedule. But the best is if you book your flight for the 10th, that you come early, like before 2:30 in the afternoon, if possible, and then book a flight for on Sunday 17. The later the better.
Yes.
So there's flexibility. You can also check in with me before you book your flight. Just contact me, and then just check in with me too.
Yes.
We'll work it out. But it's going to be fun because the place is. I mean, again, I haven't been there, I haven't seen it, but based on the photos, I actually yesterday I was going through the photos and watching the place. It was like, wow. Especially that time of the year, the weather is nice, and we have the lake in front of us. I mean, we can just jump in the water. That's why I created the schedule, like we start earlier in the morning, and then from 12:30 till 3 o'clock, I left that window open, because that's the prime time where the sun is strong, and instead of like being inside for the teachings, that's the time that we can go jump in the water, go for a swim, or dip in the water and just get some sun and relax. Or maybe have our lunch. We do a picnic outside. We have a lot of flexibility. All right. Well, it's really nice to see you all. And we'll see each other next week. How's that?
That's fine.
Fine.
That's very fine.
All right. Nice to see you.
Nice to see
Nice to
All right.
see you.
Okay.
Bye to all.
you.
Bye, and thank you so much.
All right. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Okay. Bye-bye.
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 Bye.
All right, my dear brothers, sisters. Looking forward to seeing you next week. And to my brothers and sisters on Instagram, thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward to connecting with you soon. And if you feel like leaving any comments, you're welcome to do it after I post this video. And looking forward to connecting with you.